Pau Gasol is thrilled with Luka joining the Lakers. Stay until the end, but leave your like and subscribe to the channel. When Pau Gasol first saw Luka Doncic step onto the court wearing the iconic purple and gold, it was more than just another high-profile signing in the NBA. For Pau, who had lived through the glory days of the Los Angeles Lakers alongside Kobe Bryant, it carried a sense of continuity, a reminder that certain franchises are destined to attract generational talents. Gasol, now retired but still deeply connected to the Lakers' legacy, spoke with a kind of reverence that only champions can muster. He wasn't just praising Luka's skill. He was recognizing something far deeper, the drive, the hunger, the unshakable ambition that separates great players from transcendent ones. Luka, Pau reflected in interviews and conversations, is not here just to play basketball. He is here to chase greatness, to bring banners to the rafters, to remind the world why this franchise has always represented excellence. This sentiment resonated with fans, who saw in Luka not just a brilliant scorer or dazzling playmaker, but someone with the mental toughness to embrace the relentless pressure of Los Angeles. It is one thing to be talented. It is another to accept the responsibility of becoming the face of a team that demands championships. For Pau, the connection ran deeper. He had been part of the bridge between eras, the link between Magic Johnson's Showtime Lakers and the modern LeBron James-led dynasty. Now, with Luka's arrival, he saw the beginning of yet another chapter in the Lakers' story. Gasol knew better than most that ambition without discipline can fade quickly in the NBA. But what he admired most about Doncic was his complete refusal to settle. Luka wasn't content being a superstar in Dallas. He wanted more competition, more recognition, more trophies. And in Pau's eyes, that relentless pursuit made him the perfect heir to carry the torch of the Lakers' tradition. As the crowd in Los Angeles embraced Luka, Gasol's words became a kind of prophecy. The Lakers had found their new cornerstone. Someone not only capable of dazzling highlights, but of redefining what leadership and ambition mean in the modern NBA. The European bond between Gasol and Doncic added another layer of significance. Both had grown up as ambassadors for the global reach of basketball. Both had carried the weight of expectations from their home countries. And now, Pau was passing the torch to Luka, not through formal ceremony, but through a deep sense of acknowledgement that the game, the team, and the legacy were in the hands of someone worthy. In this first chapter of their intertwined story, Pau Gasol's excitement was more than admiration. It was validation. Luka Doncic wasn't just another superstar arriving in Hollywood. He was, in Pau's words, the spine of what's to come. And for the Lakers, that spine could mean the difference between chasing history and making it. Every athlete who slips into the purple and gold quickly realizes that it is not just a uniform. It is a statement, a reminder of the giants who came before. For Luka Doncic, the moment he buttoned up his first Lakers jersey, it felt like history itself was pressing against his shoulders. Pau Gasol, watching from afar, understood that feeling better than most. He remembered vividly his own trade to Los Angeles in 2008, when expectations instantly skyrocketed. "You don't just play for the Lakers," Pau once said. "You play for the banners hanging above you, for the legends whose shadows still stretch across the court." And that was exactly the world Luka entered. The weight of expectation is both a burden and a privilege. In Dallas, Doncic had already built a reputation as one of the most unstoppable offensive engines in the league, a magician with the ball who could bend defenses with his vision, his size, and his creativity. Yet, as Pau pointed out, being a superstar in a smaller market and being the cornerstone of the Lakers are two completely different universes. In Los Angeles, every missed shot sparks debate. Every press conference becomes a headline. Every season is judged by one question alone: did you bring a championship? For Pau, who had stood alongside Kobe Bryant during multiple finals runs, There was no escaping that truth. And now, Luka was stepping directly into it. Gasol marveled not just at Doncic's skill, but at his acceptance of this challenge. Many players shy away from the glare of LA, preferring markets where they can dominate in relative peace. Luka chose the opposite. He wanted the spotlight. He wanted the criticism. He wanted the responsibility of carrying a franchise with 17 banners and the relentless hunger for an 18th. The thing about Luka, Pau explained, is that he doesn't see the pressure as pressure. He sees it as opportunity. He thrives in the chaos of expectations. Gasol's admiration was rooted in that mindset. He had witnessed firsthand how Kobe turned scrutiny into fuel, how every doubt was converted into drive. Now, watching Luka, Pau saw echoes of that same mentality. Doncic wasn't intimidated by the jersey's weight, he embraced it. The jersey also symbolized connection. Gasol often spoke about the unique bond between international players and the Lakers organization. From Vlad Divac to himself, from players like Sasha Vujacic to the present day, the Lakers had always welcomed talent from across the globe. Luka, in many ways, was the culmination of that tradition, a European superstar ready to lead the most storied franchise in the NBA. For the fans, this wasn't just about acquiring another all-star. It was about believing again. About feeling that the era of greatness could return, even as LeBron James approached the twilight of his career. Luka represented continuity, a bridge from past glory to future dominance. And for Pau Gasol, the sight of Luka in that jersey stirred something deeply personal. It reminded him of his own journey, of the nights when the world doubted him, of the championships that silenced those doubts forever. He knew Luka's path would not be easy, but he also knew that Doncic had both the talent and the mentality to make the impossible possible. As he reflected, Pau put it simply, wearing that jersey is heavy, but for some players, that weight becomes wings. For Luka Doncic, the weight of the Lakers' jersey was not a burden to carry. It was the very fuel that could lift him, and the franchise, back to the mountaintop. Pau Gasol has always believed that true greatness in basketball is not defined by numbers alone. Championships are not won simply by scoring points or grabbing rebounds. They are forged in the fire of relentless competitiveness, in the refusal to accept defeat, in the quiet moments when a player chooses to work harder than anyone else. When Pau looked at Luka Doncic, he saw that fire. Not the loud, chest-thumping kind that seeks the spotlight, but the deep, smoldering hunger that fuels a career for decades. He is never satisfied, Gasol observed. That's what makes him dangerous. That's what makes him special. From the outside, Luka often appears playful, a smile after a tough shot, a joke with teammates, a sense of joy that endears him to fans. But beneath that exterior lies an almost obsessive drive. Teammates have described how he rewatches his own games late at night, analyzing possessions frame by frame. Coaches talk about his uncanny ability to remember every detail of a play, down to the positioning of defenders and the timing of rotations. This, Pau knew, was the mark of a leader. Gasol had seen the same intensity in Kobe Bryant. While the personalities of Kobe and Luka could not be more different, their competitive spirits intersected in one crucial way. Neither could accept mediocrity. Both demanded excellence, not only of themselves, but of those around them. And Pau recognized that Luka, like Kobe, had the power to elevate his teammates simply by holding them to his standard. Leadership in Los Angeles is not easy. The glare of the city, the scrutiny of the media, the expectations of the fans, they can crush even talented players. But Pau was convinced Luka had the right combination of confidence and humility. He was confident enough to believe he could be the best, but humble enough to understand that championships require collaboration, sacrifice, and trust. Gasol recalled his own role with the Lakers. being the reliable partner to Kobe, the steady presence in moments of chaos. He understood the balance between brilliance and teamwork, between individual ambition and collective success. Watching Luka, he sensed a similar awareness. Luka is not chasing stats, Pau explained. He is chasing greatness. He wants to win. And when a player has that fire, the rest of the team feels it. Indeed, Doncic's competitiveness had already begun to shift the culture in Los Angeles. Younger players on the roster spoke about the intensity of practices, about how Luka's precision and accountability demanded more from them. Veterans admired his fearlessness in late-game moments, where the pressure could shatter lesser players. Gasol took particular pride in the way Luka embraced responsibility. In Dallas, he had already carried the burden of being the sole superstar. In Los Angeles, surrounded by brighter lights and louder voices, he did not shrink. Instead, he leaned into the challenge. This reminded Pau of a fundamental truth he had. Learned from his championship years, greatness requires both fire and calm. A champion must burn with desire, yet remain composed when the storm arrives. Luka seemed to embody this paradox, passionate but poised, competitive yet controlled. As Pau put it, leadership isn't always about shouting. Sometimes it's about showing. Luka shows every day that winning is the only thing that matters to him. That's how you lead. The fire within Luka Doncic was not just about personal ambition, it was about legacy. It was about honoring the trust of a franchise, built on legends. And for Pau Gasol, watching from the sidelines, there was no greater comfort than knowing that the Lakers had found a leader who understood that responsibility. Because in the end, it is not enough to wear the jersey or even to score the points. What matters is whether a player can inspire belief in teammates, in fans, and in the possibility of greatness. Luka's fire, Pau believed, had already begun to do just that. The Los Angeles Lakers have always been a magnet for stars. From Magic Johnson's smile to Shaquille O'Neal's dominance, from Kobe Bryant's obsession to LeBron James's reign, the franchise has thrived on larger-than-life personalities. Yet hidden within that glittering history is a quieter thread. The impact of international players who brought a different flavor, a different philosophy, a different rhythm to the game. Pau Gasol knows this story intimately. When he arrived in Los Angeles from Memphis, some wondered whether a soft-spoken Spaniard could survive the brutal expectations of the Lakers. But Pau brought with him the fundamentals of European basketball: ball movement, patience, tactical awareness, and an instinct for team play. In the crucible of the NBA Finals, those qualities proved indispensable. He was not just Kobe Bryant's partner. He was the balance that turned potential into championships. Now, years later, Pau looks at Luka Doncic and sees a continuation of that legacy. Luka is different in style, flashier, bolder, a scorer as much as a playmaker. Yet the roots of his game, the foundation of his identity, come from the same soil, the European school of basketball. Gasol has often described European players as students of the game. Raised on fundamentals, drilled on passing, movement, and spatial awareness, they often arrive in the NBA with a perspective that values the collective as much as the individual. Luka embodies this philosophy even when dazzling crowds with step-back, threes, or impossible passes. For him, the joy of the game lies as much in creating for others as in shining himself. This, Pau believes, is precisely what makes Luka the perfect fit for the Lakers' next chapter. The franchise thrives on stars, but championships are never won by one player alone. Gasol learned this when he sacrificed individual recognition to serve as the steady partner to Kobe. Luka, though younger and already a global icon, has that same willingness to blend artistry with responsibility. The European connection also carries symbolic weight. Fans across the globe see themselves reflected in players like Pau and Luka. They are proof that greatness is not confined to American playgrounds or NCAA courts. The Lakers, by embracing international talent, have extended their reach far beyond Los Angeles, becoming a truly global brand. Luka's arrival amplifies that message, that the future of the NBA is international, that borders cannot contain brilliance. Gasol has often spoken of pride in representing Spain, of being an ambassador, not only for his country but for European basketball itself. Luka carries that same banner for Slovenia. Small nations with deep love for the sport, producing giants who can reshape the destiny of the NBA. It is this shared journey, from Europe to Los Angeles, that makes Pau's admiration for Luka so personal. But there is also a contrast worth noting. Where Pau was gentle and thoughtful, Luka is fiery and unfiltered. Where Gasol blended into the team's rhythm, Doncic often bends the rhythm to his will. And yet, Pau sees this not as contradiction, but as evolution. The game changes, he has said, but the values remain. Intelligence, teamwork, resilience, Luka has all of them. He just expresses them in his own way. For the Lakers, this European influence has always been more than a side note. It is part of their fabric. From Vlade Divac in the 90s to Pau in the 2000s, to Luka now in this new era, international stars have carried the torch in moments when the team needed them most. Gasol, watching Luka embrace that heritage, feels a sense of continuity. He sees not just a superstar, but a bridge, connecting continents, connecting eras, connecting fans from Barcelona to Ljubljana to Los Angeles. And in that connection lies the heart of Pau's excitement. Luka Doncic is not only the next great Laker, he is the embodiment of a global game, the proof that basketball's soul belongs to everyone, and the promise that the purple and gold will always be a home for those who dare to dream beyond borders. When LeBron James walked into his first practice alongside Luka Doncic, it was more than a meeting of teammates. It was the convergence of eras. One, the most decorated and dominant player of his generation, a symbol of longevity and consistency. The other, a rising star whose brilliance promised to define the next decade of basketball. For Pau Gasol, observing from a distance, this pairing represented something truly rare, the overlap of greatness across generations. Gasol has always admired LeBron. During his years with the Lakers, Pau competed against him, felt the weight of his dominance, and later celebrated his arrival in Los Angeles as the continuation of the franchise's pursuit of excellence. Now, to see LeBron and Luka sharing the same jersey, the same court, the same mission, was almost surreal. The NBA rarely gives us this kind of overlap, Pau explained to reporters. Usually one great era fades before the next begins. But here, we have one of the greatest ever, still playing at a high level, passing wisdom to someone who could be the face of the league for the next 15 years. From the moment Luka joined the Lakers, questions swirled about how the dynamic with LeBron would unfold. Would egos clash? Would roles overlap? Would one star's brilliance dim the others? Gasol, however, saw no conflict, only potential. LeBron, he believed, was entering the phase of his career where legacy meant as much as titles. He had already proven everything, won everything, conquered every narrative. Luka, by contrast, was hungry, ambitious, still chasing the validation of championships. Together, Paul thought, they could balance each other. LeBron providing wisdom and stability, Luka injecting energy and fire. Gasol had lived through a similar dynamic himself. Playing alongside Kobe Bryant, he learned that greatness thrives when egos are aligned toward a single goal. It was not always easy. It required sacrifice, humility, and trust. But when it worked, the results were unstoppable. He imagined that LeBron and Luka, with mutual respect and shared ambition, could create a partnership just as formidable. Luka will push LeBron, Pau said with a smile, and LeBron will guide Luka. That's how dynasties are built. On the court, the potential synergy was obvious. Luka's playmaking could ease the physical toll on LeBron, allowing him to conserve energy while still remaining lethal in crucial moments. Meanwhile, LeBron's gravity and leadership would give Luka the freedom to experiment, to dominate, to carry the offense when needed. Off the court, the impact was even greater. For Luka, sharing a locker room with LeBron meant daily lessons in professionalism, discipline, and preparation. For LeBron, mentoring Luka offered the chance to cement his influence not just through championships, but through shaping the future of the game. Gasol was particularly struck by the symbolic power of this relationship. LeBron represented the era of American dominance, a prodigy who fulfilled every ounce of his potential. Luka embodied the rise of international stars, proof that the NBA's future was global. Together, wearing Lakers jerseys, they weren't just teammates, they were symbols of a league without borders, of a franchise that belonged to the world. For the fans, it was a dream pairing. The veteran king and the young prodigy, united in the chase for banners. For Gasol, it was something even more meaningful, a passing of the torch. He saw in Luka the hunger that had once driven Kobe, and in LeBron the wisdom that only years of battles can bring. To combine those forces under, the Lakers' roof was, in his words, a gift from basketball itself. The bridge between generations is rarely built in real time. Often, fans look back years later to see how one era led into another. But with Luka and LeBron, the transition was happening in front of everyone's eyes. And Pau Gasol, a man who had lived through his own historic era, could only marvel at the sight. Luka and LeBron together, he concluded, isn't just about winning games. It's about building a legacy that will echo long after they're gone. Los Angeles has never been a city short on stars. Its streets glitter with celebrity, its arenas echo with history, and its fans demand nothing less than brilliance. Yet even in a place accustomed to spectacle, the arrival of Luka Doncic sparked something different, a collective surge of belief that the Lakers were once again on the brink of greatness. From the moment the news broke, fans flooded social media with a mix of disbelief and joy. Clips of Luka's step-back threes and jaw-dropping passes circulated alongside photoshopped images of him in Lakers gold. By the time he actually walked onto the court at Crypto.com Arena for the first time, the atmosphere was electric. Banners waved. Chants of his name broke out before he had even touched the ball. Pau Gasol, who had been beloved by Lakers fans during his own career, knew exactly what this meant. He understood the psychology of the city, how quickly it could embrace a star who matched its ambition, and how fiercely it could demand results. In interviews, Pau's words poured fuel on the fire. He called Luka's arrival a new dawn, praised his fearless ambition, and labeled him the spine of the franchise's future. For a fan base hungry for hope, those words resonated like gospel. Gasol's blessing carried weight. He was not just a former player, but a champion, a man whose jersey hung in the rafters. Fans trusted his judgment, and if Pau said Luka was ready to carry the Lakers, then belief became not just optimism, but expectation. Los Angeles thrives on narrative, and Luka provided one immediately. He was the prodigy who left behind comfort in search of challenge, the global star who chose to stake his legacy in the most demanding market in basketball. The city, always eager for drama, saw in him the perfect protagonist. Every game became a chapter. Every highlight became a promise. And Luka, for his part, seemed to thrive in the chaos. He smiled at the noise, embraced the lights, leaned into the responsibility. Where some stars shrink beneath the glare of LA, Luka appeared energized by it. He joked with fans, signed autographs until his hands cramped, and played with a joy that reminded people why they loved basketball in the first place. Pau Gasol took special pride in the way Luka connected with the community. Gasol had always valued his role off the court as much as on it, visiting hospitals, engaging with charities, representing the Lakers with dignity. He saw in Luka a similar spirit, a willingness to embrace Los Angeles not just as a workplace, but as a home. The city responded in kind. Murals began appearing across neighborhoods, blending Luka's face with the purple and gold, often painted, alongside legends of the past. Merchandise sales skyrocketed, with Doncic jerseys flooding the streets from Santa Monica to East LA. Talk radio hosts debated not whether the Lakers could contend, but how quickly they could reclaim the throne. Still, Gasol knew the relationship between LA and its stars came with conditions. The fans loved deeply, but their love was transactional. Perform, and they will raise you to myth. Falter, and they will turn restless. Yet Pau believed Luka understood this better than most. He wasn't afraid of the stakes. He craved them. Los Angeles, Gasol reflected, wants to believe. Luka gives them a reason. For the first time in years, the city buzzed with championship fever. The traffic on Figueroa Street seemed lighter on game nights, as though the city itself paused to watch. Restaurants filled with fans glued to screens. Kids on playgrounds shouted Luka's name as they mimicked his stepbacks. The Lakers had always been more than a basketball team in Los Angeles. They were a cultural heartbeat, a source of identity. And with Luka's arrival, backed by the faith of a legend like Gasol, that heartbeat grew louder, stronger, undeniable. In a city addicted to stars, Luka Doncic wasn't just another celebrity. He was the promise of a future, the reminder of a glorious past, and the embodiment of belief reborn. Championship teams are not built on talent alone. They are built in the quiet spaces, in the hallways of the arena, in the weight room at dawn, in the locker room before the lights turn on. For Pau Gasol, who had lived through the highs and lows of the Lakers' dynasty years, these unseen moments were where culture was forged. And as Luka Doncic settled into Los Angeles, Pau noticed something unmistakable. The locker room had changed. When Luka entered, the atmosphere shifted. Teammates described it as an energy, a spark that ran through even the most routine practices. His presence commanded respect, not through arrogance or entitlement, but through the simple fact that he worked harder than anyone else. He stayed late. He pushed drills to the edge. He demanded intensity from himself and expected it from those around him. Gasol recognized the signs immediately. He had once seen Kobe Bryant walk into a room and elevate the standards of everyone present. While Luka's style was different, less fierce glare, more quiet expectation, the effect was similar. Suddenly, rookies felt they had to earn every minute. Veterans realized they had to sharpen their edges. The bar was raised, and nobody wanted to be the weak link. What struck Pau most was Luka's ability to blend leadership with camaraderie. In Europe, where Luka had been molded, the concept of team was sacred. He carried that with him into the Lakers' locker room. He cracked jokes in multiple languages, embraced the international players, encouraged the younger ones, and respected the veterans. He made everyone feel included, but never allowed anyone to feel comfortable. Luka understands balance, Gasol explained. He can be your friend, but he will also challenge you. That's what a leader does. LeBron James, still the elder statesman of the team, welcomed this shift. For years, the burden of leadership had rested almost solely on his shoulders. With Luka, the dynamic evolved. Leadership became a shared responsibility. LeBron could focus on mentoring and pacing himself, while Luka carried the day-to-day intensity that kept the team sharp. Behind the scenes, coaches noticed subtle changes. Team meetings were livelier, as Luka wasn't afraid to speak up, even in his first weeks with the squad. Practices were crisper, as younger players tried to match his precision. Even film sessions, often monotonous, gained energy because Luka would dissect plays in detail, asking questions, challenging assumptions. Gasol smiled when he heard these reports. He knew this was how culture shifts, not with grand speeches, but with daily habits, with an insistence on excellence that becomes contagious. "You don't change a locker room by talking," he said. "You change it by living the standard every single day." The Lakers' locker room, once defined by the uncertainty of transition and the weight of aging stars, now pulsed with new purpose. Luka's ambition was not just personal, it was collective. He wanted everyone to rise with him, and Pau believed this was the key to sustaining greatness. It reminded Gasol of the early days with Kobe, when the team transformed from a group of talented individuals into a brotherhood chasing history. That same spark, that same hunger, now flickered in the faces of players rallying behind Luka. For Pau, the transformation wasn't just about basketball. It was about identity. The Lakers' locker room once again felt like the center of something larger than the game, a culture of excellence, unity, and relentless drive. And in the heart of that rebirth stood Luka Doncic, carrying not only the hopes of fans but the respect of his peers. Culture is invisible, Gasol reflected. You can't see it, but you feel it. Right now you can feel it in that room, and Luka is the reason why. The Los Angeles Lakers have always been a global brand. From the Showtime era that dazzled television audiences across continents, to Kobe Bryant's unparalleled reach in Asia, the purple and gold have transcended borders. But when Luka Doncic arrived in Los Angeles, Pau Gasol noticed a new dimension to that global connection, a bridge between Europe and the NBA unlike anything the league had ever seen. Almost instantly, the international media descended. Slovenian outlets sent correspondents to Los Angeles full-time. Spanish networks, still protective of Luka as an adopted son of Real Madrid, ran nightly coverage of his every move. Across Eastern Europe, sports pages led with Lakers scores as though they were national headlines. For Pau, this was familiar. He remembered his own trade to the Lakers in 2008 and the wave of Spanish journalists who suddenly followed him across America. But Luka's arrival, he noted, was on an entirely different scale. When I joined the Lakers, it was big for Spain, Gasol explained. When Luka joined, it was big for the world. The numbers backed him up. Social media metrics spiked in regions far outside the Lakers' traditional strongholds. Merchandise sales surged in Europe. Game broadcasts shattered viewership records in countries where basketball had always played second fiddle to soccer. Luka's presence didn't just attract fans. It created new ones. Gasol understood why. Luka wasn't just another NBA star, he was a cultural symbol. For small nations like Slovenia, his success represented possibility, proof that greatness could come from anywhere. For broader Europe, he embodied the maturity of decades of basketball development, a testament that the continent could not only produce stars but cornerstones of the league. The international press fed this narrative relentlessly. Headlines framed Luka as the heir not just to LeBron James, but to the Lakers' entire legacy. Commentators debated whether this was the most significant European signing in NBA history. Documentaries began production before he had even played. His first playoff game in purple and gold. In Los Angeles, Gasol observed, the frenzy had a dual effect. On one hand, it energized the franchise, elevating every game into a global spectacle. On the other, it raised the stakes. Every performance, every shot, every smile or frown from Luka was broadcast to millions, dissected in a dozen languages. The margin for error shrank under the weight of international attention. Yet Pau believed Luka thrived in this environment. He remembered his own adjustment, the shock of suddenly being scrutinized by fans from multiple continents, and how difficult it could be. Luka, however, seemed almost immune. He embraced interviews in multiple languages, laughed with journalists, and played with the same joy whether in Dallas, Madrid, or Los Angeles. He doesn't just carry a franchise, Gasol reflected. He carries countries, and he makes it look effortless. The global reaction also reinforced something Pau had always believed, that basketball's future was international. The NBA, once dominated by American-born stars, now leaned heavily on global icons. Jokic in Serbia, Giannis in Greece, Wembanyama in France, and now Luka in Los Angeles, standing at the epicenter of the sport's most storied franchise. Gasol found pride in this evolution. As a European who had once been seen as an outsider, he now saw a league transformed where international players were no longer novelties but leaders. And Luka's presence in LA was the ultimate validation of that journey. The world is watching, Pau concluded, and that's a good thing. Because when the world watches Luka, they see more than a player. They see a future where basketball belongs to everyone. Los Angeles is a city of dreams, but it is also a city of expectations. In a town where the lights shine as brightly off the court as they do on it, anything less than victory is scrutinized. For Luka Doncic, stepping into this environment meant more than learning a new system or adapting to a new roster. It meant carrying the weight of championship ambition from day one. Pau Gasol, who had worn the purple and gold during his own championship runs, understood the magnitude of this pressure. He had experienced the nights when every missed shot felt like a personal failure, when every headline dissected your decisions, and when the city's collective heartbeat seemed tied to the team's performance. LA is unforgiving, Gasol once said. It doesn't just celebrate you, it challenges you constantly. And that's what makes it extraordinary. From the moment Luka arrived, the narrative in the media was clear. The Lakers were expecting nothing short of contention. Analysts debated his readiness to shoulder that burden. Fans speculated whether he could mesh with LeBron James's leadership style, and former players weighed in on whether this was a championship-caliber duo. Every word, every pass, every game was under a microscope. Gasol observed it all with a mix of admiration and concern. Admiration because Luka appeared unfazed. The Slovenian star thrived on the challenge, relishing moments when the stakes were highest. Concern, because he knew how quickly pressure could corrode confidence if not managed properly. The challenge is enormous, Gasol reflected, but Luka has shown he can channel it. He doesn't just handle pressure. He transforms it into performance. Indeed, Luka's first games in Los Angeles illustrated this truth. He delivered spectacular performances in high-profile matchups, rising to the occasion when the team needed him most. Yet Pau cautioned against over-reliance on short-term success. Championships are a marathon, not a sprint, he explained. You have to sustain excellence, maintain focus, and balance energy with patience. The Lakers' history amplifies this expectation. 17 banners hang in the rafters, each one a reminder of greatness achieved and the standard that the present team must meet. For Luka, this was not just about adding personal accolades. It was about joining a legacy. Gasol emphasized that understanding the historical context is crucial. The Lakers are not a regular team. Every play, every moment is measured against decades of achievement. Fans, of course, thrive on this drama. Social media debates raged over whether Luka was the missing piece, whether LeBron's mentorship would accelerate the team's championship window, and whether Pau's endorsement added credibility to the hype. Gasol recognized the double-edged sword. Public belief can energize a player, but it can also magnify any perceived shortcoming. Yet for Luka, Gasol noted, this was the environment in which he excelled. European basketball had taught him resilience, the ability to adapt under pressure, and a team-first mentality that balanced individual brilliance with collective success. Los Angeles might be more intense, but it was also the stage where Luka could demonstrate that maturity. The expectation is absolute, Pau said, but so is his capacity to rise. That's the hallmark of a future champion. Ultimately, Gasol sees Luka's challenge as an opportunity. The city demands banners. The media amplifies scrutiny. The fans expect nothing less than history. And in this crucible, Luka is learning, not just to perform, but to lead, inspire, and redefine what it means to carry the Lakers into a new era of glory. As Pau put it, pressure shapes champions, and Luka is ready to be shaped. Every era of the Los Angeles Lakers carries its own story. Magic and Kareem defined a dynasty with flair and dominance. Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant blended power and artistry to create unforgettable chapters. LeBron James, with his unmatched combination of skill and longevity, has continued the tradition into the modern age. Now, with Luka Doncic stepping into the purple and gold, Pau Gasol sees the beginning of a new narrative, one that intertwines the past, honors the present, and shapes the future. For Pau, legacy is never just about statistics. It's about influence, leadership, and the ability to inspire those around you. Watching Luka, he recognizes a player who has the potential to carry the franchise's history forward while writing his own story. Legacy isn't inherited, Gasol says. It's earned. And Luka has the talent, the drive, and the intelligence to earn it in real time. What excites Pau most is Luka's combination of brilliance and humility. While he dazzles crowds with spectacular plays, there is a grounded quality to him. An awareness that every victory is built on teamwork, preparation, and respect for the game. This balance, Pau notes, is what allowed him to thrive during his own Lakers years. It's what allows champions to leave an indelible mark on a franchise that spans decades. Gasol also reflects on the significance of bridging generations. LeBron James represents an era defined by athleticism, versatility, and relentless pursuit of excellence. Luka Doncic embodies the evolution of basketball, where skill, vision, and creativity are paramount. Together, they form a continuum, a thread, linking the past to the future. Pau sees Luka as both a student and a teacher, learning from LeBron's experience while already shaping the team's identity in his own distinctive way. The European connection adds another layer. Pau's own journey from Spain to Los Angeles mirrored Luka's path from Slovenia to the NBA. Both carried not just their personal dreams, but the pride of nations that had nurtured their talent. In Luka, Pau sees a reflection of his younger self, ambitious, capable, and willing to shoulder immense responsibility for the greater good. Watching Luka, Pau muses, I see a young man who understands that the Lakers are more than a team. They are a legacy. He respects it, he embraces it, and he is already adding to it. Fans, too, are part of this legacy. They will remember the nights when Luka hit clutch shots, led comebacks, or guided younger teammates with poise beyond his years. They will recall the way he carried the banner of a franchise steeped in history while also bringing it into a new global era. Pau believes these moments will define him as a Laker, not just statistically, but culturally and emotionally. Ultimately, Pau Gasol's reflection is one of hope and confidence. He has seen legends rise and fade, watched dynasties form and dissolve, and knows that greatness is as much about character as talent. Luka Doncic possesses both. He has the vision to innovate, the skill to dominate, and the temperament to lead. In Pau's eyes, the Lakers' future is in capable hands. Legacy, Pau concludes, is about connection, past, present, and future. Luka is the link. He carries the stories of those who came before, embodies the moment we live in, and promises a horizon where the Lakers' greatness continues. He's not just a player, he's the next chapter in a story we all want to read. And in that thought, Pau Gasol sees not only a player, but the embodiment of hope for a franchise, a city, and a global basketball community. With Luka Doncic at the helm, the Lakers are not merely chasing history, they are poised to create it.